Let's talk about something you probably have in your closet. You might even be wearing one right now. But have you ever really, truly stopped to think about the necktie? I mean, this simple strip of fabric has a history that is anything but simple. It's a wild journey that stretches all the way from ancient battlefields to modern boardrooms. So let's unravel that story, shall we? So, the big question is, why? Why do we wear them? If you think about it, they don't really do anything. They don't keep you warm, they don't offer any protection, they're just there. So how did this one little piece of cloth become this massive global symbol of professionalism and style? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to solve today. The answer, as it turns out, is a fascinating trip through time. You see, the meaning of the tie has changed so dramatically over the centuries, pretty much reflecting the changing values of society itself. And this, right here, is the heart of the story. The incredible transformation from a literal tool for survival on the battlefield to a symbol of total sophistication in the boardroom. How on earth did that happen? Well, to find out, we have to go back, way back, probably further than you're thinking. So forget about 19th century England for a minute. Forget 17th century France. We're going back thousands of years, all the way to ancient China. That's right, you heard me, the 3rd century BC. We're talking over 2,000 years ago. Long before the cravat was even a glimmer in a Frenchman's eye, soldiers in China were already wearing what was basically a prototype of the modern necktie. And who were these soldiers? None other than China's incredible terracotta warriors. When archaeologists were studying these statues, they found that they were wearing these distinct neck cloths right under their armor. And they weren't just for looks either. They offered some protection, sure, but more importantly, historians believe they were used to signify military rank. This is a huge clue. Right from the very beginning, the necktie was a symbol of status. Okay, now let's fast forward a few centuries and land in 17th century Europe. This is the moment where the neckcloth takes a massive turn, transforming from a practical piece of military equipment into a full-blown fashion statement. Now, of course, the Chinese weren't the only ones who saw how useful neckwear could be. Roman soldiers used them to stay warm and even as makeshift bandages. Germanic hunters used animal hides to fight off the cold. And English gentlemen, well, they apparently used them as napkins. The point is, the idea of wearing something around your neck for practical reasons was pretty common. But everything, and I mean everything, changed in 17th century France. A group of foreign soldiers arrived at the royal court, and their unique style of neckwear caught the eye of the biggest trendsetter of the era, the king himself. These soldiers were Croatian mercenaries, you see, and their colorful scarves totally captivated King Louis XIV. He immediately adopted the style for his court, and he called it la cravate, which is basically a French twist on the word Croat. And just like that, with one royal endorsement, the cravat became the hottest fashion accessory in all of Europe. From that moment on, the tie was just in constant motion. It was always twisting and turning, slimming down and then flaring back out, always reflecting the changing tastes and attitudes of the times. The 17th century was all about those big, frilly lace cravats of the aristocracy. Then came the much more formal, structured stock tie in the 18th century. After that, you get the elegant ascot in the 19th. But the biggest innovation, the real game changer, came in 1924. An American tailor named Jesse Langsdorff had this brilliant idea to cut the fabric on a bias. This simple little change allowed the tie to drape perfectly and spring right back into shape. And boom, the modern necktie we all know today was born. And the evolution didn't stop there. The Roaring '20s gave us the big, confident Windsor knot. The minimalist 1950s brought us that cool, sleek, skinny tie. And the 1970s, well, the 70s gave us the wide, wild, and absolutely wonderful kipper tie. Each style is like a perfect little snapshot of its time. So you can see the journey is pretty clear. It goes from function to fashion, from a tool of survival to a tool of self-expression. And you can see that transformation not just in its shape, but in the very fabric it's made from. Early ties were all about natural fibers. You know, linen, wool, and the king of them all, silk. Then the Industrial Revolution kicked in and brought us synthetics like polyester, which was great because it made ties way more affordable for everybody. But even with all our modern tech, let's be honest, nothing can quite match the luxurious feel, the rich color, and that graceful drape of a real silk tie. And that brings us to today. Right now, the tie has totally shed its old skin. It's not confined to the boardroom or some old boys' club anymore. It's become a blank canvas, a tool of self-expression for anyone who wants to make a statement. And a huge part of that statement is color. A fiery red tie just screams power and passion. A cool blue one inspires trust and a sense of calm. A classic black tie exudes elegance. Even a playful purple sends a message of creativity and luxury. Every single color tells a story, so you gotta choose yours wisely. For centuries, the tie really was a man's world. But in the 1920s and 30s, as women were breaking down barriers in the workplace, they also started breaking down barriers in fashion. These trailblazing women in Hollywood and beyond began to adopt the silk tie, turning it into this bold, powerful symbol of their newfound confidence and independence. You know, that single act of rebellion really changed everything. Today, the tie belongs to everyone. It's a universal symbol of style, just a fantastic way to express your unique personality, no matter who you are. And the story of the tie, it continues to be written, not just in fashion magazines, but in the workshops of skilled artisans. In places like Hangzhou, China, a region famous for its silk, you have craftsmen who are keeping this ancient tradition alive, weaving amazing new designs that both honor the past and look to the future. So the next time you tie that knot, just take a second to appreciate the history you're wearing. You're part of a story that stretches back for millennia, a story of soldiers and kings, of rebels and innovators. Your tie is your voice. The only question is, what do you want it to say?